something is labeled as alien, it indicates that it doesn't belong. So the concept of social alienation can be summarized as not belonging to your society anymore. Karl Marx contextualizes alienation through human labor in the model of capitalism. The theory is that when a person who has been taken from the farm and put into the factory loses their ability to think for themselves and thereby have some influence on their own destiny, they begin to self-identify as nothing more than another cog in an overarching machine. Their labor becomes a commodity, and their sense of humanness fades. Capitalism alienates human workers by taking the things that used to be done socially and putting them in a factory setting, like a business. It used to be that we planted our own fields and talked to each other, sharing our tools. Then we reached a point where businesses started growing our food for us. The social process of all of us getting together and sharing meals, recipes, cooking equipment, etc. was destroyed. Instead, people began to stand at assembly lines with nothing more to do than to push a button repeatedly. Suddenly, it's not the machinery, this marvelous thing, coming into our world and making our lives better. We, the people, are the alien things going into factories as extrinsic substitutes, bolstering the machine's operating capacity. The machine operates only at its programmed process, and we must adapt ourselves to fit around it. Technology starts to rule us. People become the tools of technological processes instead of people running technology, and technology being a tool for social processes. It flips the object and the subject. Who's acting on whom? The episode 15 Million Merits is all about how main character Bing exists merely to produce power for this machine and to purchase things. His whole existence is contingent on this machine he's probably unwittingly a part of. He powers the machine with his physical energy, and the machine does nothing to power him. In fact, it forces him to watch banal television programming without allowing Bing a circumspect choice in the matter. Consider the entire history of you. In this episode, technology is unraveling the social fabric for people. Marx would say that the technology is exacerbating the self-destructiveness that comes with capitalism. We exist because of other humans. We live for other humans. We thrive from interactions with other humans. Marx would argue that when you take people away from the social aspects of their life that keep them alive with social sustenance, organizing everyone into these factories, eventually they'll reach a breaking point and they'll start talking and likely complaining to each other. They'll eventually realize nobody is winning in the game, and then they're going to start a revolution. This is portrayed as the technology is discussed at the dining room table. The threat of revolution begins with one woman who has made a conscious choice to defy the technology. Capitalism necessarily causes revolution because it always treats humans as not humans. It always treats humans as alien. In playtest, a human being is put into a perilous situation so that he can have money to subsist. He's desperate and expendable, to the point where the only way for him to get along is to become the mouse in a technological lab maze. It's using human life to perfect the machine, as opposed to using machines to elevate human life. In Nosedive, a person is no longer a person, but distilled into a crowdsourced rating, facilitated and distributed via technology. Simple, pure alienation. National Anthem would likely have played out differently had all those people been standing face to face with the Prime Minister. They would likely not have returned the verdict that they did. The public treats him as if he isn't human because technology provides a barrier between him and them, creating a social isolation and an alienation between them. Both Marx and Karl Polanyi talked about social embeddedness, which means the economy is serving the social world. On the other hand, social disembeddedness is when the social world is serving the economy. When technology separates us from physical social interactions, as it disembeds us socially, It changes the nature of our interactions, and we become increasingly alien to one another. And it's not just that the socially embedded relations atrophy because they are not being used or are being crowded out by the market. It's that the technology is actively developed to exacerbate alienation, creating preconditions necessary for its existence, the preconditions being no social relations. The technology extends its development and scope by alienating us from analog social relations. There are several other examples of alienation throughout the series, like when a cartoon character is added to the ballot, suggesting that we may not even want to be led by another human, we want to be led by an imaginary character. In Men Against Fire, technology is used to make friends appear as enemies. Classic alienation. USS Callister regales the viewer with the story of how a man creates a whole video game because he can't get laid. It is the very picture of antisocial behavior, aka alienation. It's using technology to support oneself through antisocial attitude and behaviors. As evidenced by the examples provided, alienation is a theme that plays throughout the series to a noisome degree.